Panacea Genome Screen is our flagship test. It's a category-defining product. It's the only IVF test on the market that can identify not just inherited mutations, but also new mutations. This level of precision, the scale and scope, doesn't exist anywhere else in reproductive genetics.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining me in another insightful conversation today. I'm your host, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Nick Murphy, Managing Director and founder of XGen, an Australian biotech company that's developed breakthrough whole genome sequencing technology for the IVF industry. Nick, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Rhythm.
Absolutely. Now, Nick, you spent over a decade in the IVF industry before starting your company. So I'm curious to know, what was that exact moment that you realized that, the current genetic screening just wasn't cutting it out?
The genetic screening of IVF embryos as it stands today is 95% of the embryos which are being tested. It's called pre-implantation genetic testing, but there's not really any genetics going on about it. It's a misnomer by calling it that alone. And even just from that early position of this doesn't quite make sense. Why is it called pre-implantation genetic testing without the genetics? And those questions and similar ones led from there.
Very interesting indeed. So you've developed a whole genome sequencing for embryos. Now that definitely sounds like a massive leap forward. So can you tell us what's the biggest misconception today about genetic screening in IVF?
It would be from the patient's perspective that they are already having the DNA sequence of their embryos checked and screened. This seems a remarkably common misconception, and one that is not fully explained all of the time at any rate.
I understand. Now, for our audience to connect better, can you actually walk us through what this means for a couple that is going through IVF?
In a practical sense, there's no difference for the couples. They're involved in the same overall process regarding their assisted fertility. They experience no difference. The differential, however, is that they get a lot better information by which to make their decision.
I understand. Let's dive deeper into your technology. So, can you tell us what's actually unique or defensible about the technology that you're using?
Certainly, it's Panacea Genome Screen is our flagship test. It's a category-defining product. It's the only IVF test on the market that can identify not just inherited mutations, but also new mutations, de novo mutations. These random new mutations, neither parent carries. So you can't pick them up on carrier screening. And they're known to cause about half of all severe pediatric genetic disorders. Our test has shown over 99.5 clinical performance on single nucleotide mutations in our validation studies. This level of precision, the scale and scope, doesn't exist anywhere else in reproductive genetics.
I understand. And can you tell us about your commercial model and how do you actually plan to scale it?
We partner directly with IVF clinics and laboratories, embedding our technology with existing care pathways. This means that we don't need to build new infrastructure. We grow through partnerships. Each clinic added means higher volumes, more revenue, and more data. Because this test generates a complete embryo genome, our platform becomes smarter over time. It's highly scalable, it's capital efficient with multiple expansion pathways into diagnostics, decision report, and discovery.
And what traction have you received to date about your product?
We're clinically validated, we're CLIA lab ready, and are launching with a major IVF partner in this quarter. Our initial footprint includes partnerships with IVF networks, actively using Panacea Genome Screen to select embryos with the lowest genetic risk. Early demand has been extremely strong. Clinicians are asking for this level of insight, and patients are beginning to expect it. We're now focused on our rollout and converting this interest into whole-scale adoption.
Now, Nick, you're planning a NASDAQ listing as well in August, which is quite ambitious for an Australian biotech company. Can you tell us what made you actually choose US market over staying local?
Well, I grew up overseas, and there is no need for this technology to be restricted to the Australian market. This is required across the world, this level of precision in people's family planning for the rest of their lives. The NASDAQ listing has been to provide the funding for this rapid scale ability to roll out across the globe.
Absolutely, well said. Now, for the investors who are watching this interview and who are intrigued by your company, what's the key thing that they need to understand about your opportunity? And can you also tell us what's coming next for XGen?
We're already rolling out Panacea, our flagship test based on the most massive unmet need to our first IVF partners, and are planning additional unmet needs, of which there are many not only in reproductive medicine, but across healthcare, including other supportive tools for embryo decision making utilizing the best AI. Platform extensions into infertility genomics. We're also exploring strategic partnerships in regulatory jurisdictions to accelerate adoption. Every embryo we test generates genomic insight, and we're just at the beginning of what this early life project can unlock.
Absolutely. Now, Nick, as we wrap up our interview today, I would love to know what's that one thing that you wish more people understood about genetic screening in IVF?
That you do have to do it right. That GenEmbryomics hasn't just built a product. We've built a system to ethically be able to screen embryos for medically actionable and justifiable reasons. And this is why investors should pay interest at the moment. This is a $20 billion industry globally. It's growing at a rapid rate. And the full genome sequencing will inevitably be the norm. And we're at the forefront of that.
Absolutely. And it was really fascinating to hear about what you are building. So, to our viewers watching this interview, you have just heard from Nick Murphy about a company that's potentially revolutionizing genetic screening in the IVF industry. And they are currently in a bridge funding round ahead of their planned NASDAQ listing in August. So, if you want to reach out to their team, please see the details at the side of your screen or in the description of this video. Once again, thank you, Nick, for your time today, and our team wishes you all the luck with your venture moving forward.
Thank you so much, Rhythm.
Thank you.